on today's Radisode.
Happy 2023 to you! I was lucky enough to demo the Pivot Shuttle AM, also known just as the Pivot Shuttle. So it was kind of their original shuttle. I think this was a 2021 version, might even been a 2022. I think they have now discontinued that model, but it was based on the Pivot Switchblade. So basically a trail, light enduro, if you will, bike. And the suspension and geometry is equivalent to that. So the Pivot Shuttle overall, unbelievable. Just started blowing outside my window. Jesus.
All right, I'm going up BGS because gnarly sucks. And on the Pivot Shuttle, this thing is insanely powerful and also insanely heavy. About 50 pounds, I don't know exactly, I'll look it up. We're demoing this thing as I'm looking to narrow my focus on what e-bike I want to maybe go with. I was fortunate enough to demo the Rocky Mountain Instinct Powerplay, which is a big, powerful bike too. Doesn't have quite as much, it's not quite as slack as this. I think this is 64.5 on the Pivot Shuttle. See, head tube angle, whereas the Instinct Powerplay I think was maybe 65. I'll double check. But they're pretty similar. This one has definitely more suspension. The 38 Fox factory on the front. Instinct I think had a 36.
160/140 suspension on the Pivot Shuttle and 150/140 on the Instinct Powerplay. So very similar, like these two bikes, and even the price points were fairly similar. I believe the Pivot Shuttle around 11,000 for the Pivot Shuttle and around 9,100 for the Instinct Powerplay. So you saved almost $2,000 on the Instinct Powerplay because the components are just slightly, one tier below. Great that I was able to compare kind of both of these bikes because they're certainly competing bikes. The biggest difference with these two bikes that I found was in the motor or the engine. So the Pivot Shuttle AM runs on the Shimano EP8, which is a pretty common engine out there in the e-bike world. The Instinct Powerplay is on the Dyname, I think that's how you pronounce it, 4.0, which Rocky Mountain internally developed. They built that engine for their bikes because they didn't like necessarily the way some of the other engines on the market were working.
Oh man, I couldn't even pedal out of that in eco. That's interesting. Oh man, come on, come on. Juice this up. Oh, now I'm in boost. Okay, let's see what this does. Now I'm getting some power. But I'm in boost. I'm in the top one right now. That's interesting. I shouldn't have to work this hard in boost. I'm really having to pedal here. All right, I think I figured out why I was having such a hard time pedaling up the hill, even when I was in boost mode on this beast, the Pivot Shuttle. I think it's because I was in a really high gear. Eighth gear, trying to go up this, not steep, but probably 5% grade. And so I was in a really high gear. So as I went in a lower gear, I found it would give me more juice. It's very responsive to what you're pedaling. If you're not able to pedal very hard, the battery doesn't help you very much. So that's good. That's a good thing. Try it in a lower gear as we climb and see if that makes a big difference. And I think it will. There is no room or no room, but for a bottle cage or a water bottle. So isn't that funny? $12,000 bike and they don't have room for a bottle cage.
You find it filled to the brim with jack squat.
I guess they just figure you'll be riding so far you'll need a backpack. But anyways, that's a really nice bike. I'm gonna give it a little bit more of a test now that I figured out you got to be in a lower gear, Dave. Duh.
Open.
And I will say that is the biggest difference between these two bikes. They both handled fairly similar, but the Pivot Shuttle had a lot more like instant torque as soon as you touch on that pedal. Really kind of almost jumps you forward. And on the Instinct Powerplay, that Dyname engine is a lot more intuitive. It's a lot more like if you touch the pedal, it doesn't just like jerk you forward. It wants you to actually start to push down on it, not just like a light touch, but like you start, and then it's like, okay, oh, you're pedaling, let's go, let's go, let's go. So there's pros and cons to these two different engines, if you will, and the way that they work. I personally prefer the Dyname engine because it is a much more natural feel. It feels very like it only wants to work when you work, and when you're pedaling down, it's going with you. You stop pedaling, it stops immediately. The Shimano EP8, like I say, you touch it and it starts going, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it takes getting used to. Dyname on the Instinct, when you stop pedaling, you need to be aware that it's going to stop pedaling with you.
It is very loose. Wow. You can see. Oh, what if the builders bring e-bikes to build so they can bring their equipment up? I'm on a size large, and I'm just shy of 5'10". 5'10" in shoes, 5'10 and a half in shoes, 5'9 and a half ish, and that's kind of right where they generally recommend a large pivot does. So a medium would probably fit me a little better, but this is doable. Man, oh, the work they put into this, man. So much chopping and raking. So I wonder if they have e-bikes themselves to get their tools up here. Oh, that's where the power, you probably saw my front end come up. The power I was pedaling and just lifted me right up. Nice. Stuff like that is really fun on an e-bike. All right, we are finished the first ride on the Shuttle. See that? It's at 3 bars left out of 5. Yeah, 2,000 feet and 17 miles, 17 and a third miles, 2,000 feet. Mostly rode it in trail. That's the mid assist one. It's fun, man. Like once Dum Dum figured out you have to put the gears lower.
Moment that he knew he f***ed up.
To get it helping you. But I think it's heavy, man. It's heavy. Feels a little cumbersome. Not a playful bike. It's definitely more for plowing. Would recommend it for anybody that wants a full power bike and has just too much money on their hands. They just need to, you know, pass it off. Anyways, that's it for me. We'll give you a bit more of a view. Climb up there and come down while you're waiting.
There, for the record,
Yeah.
I've never made it up that climb on a manual.
Oh, I'm not surprising. That's a bitch of a climb.
So the Pivot Shuttle AM, really liked it. As you'll see in some of these videos here, you can see how when you start going, it just goes, and it was a smooth pedal. It helped me get up a lot of things, and I was able to just ride and ride and ride, and with almost no effort. I kept it mostly in eco mode, and sometimes in trail mode. So there's eco, trail, and boost, I believe, are the 3 categories. And there's a walk assist as well. But I mostly kept it in eco. Sometimes I'd put it in trail. And it just kept going. And as you watch in the video, you'll kind of hear like you could just ride that thing all day long and barely get winded. You know, I was shocked with how much climbing we did on a couple of these trails, like 1,000 feet over 6 miles, 7 miles, and like I wasn't winded whatsoever.
Man,
so that was a
takes
really nice bonus of the Pivot Shuttle AM. And it was similar with the Instinct as well as comparison in terms of just very, very powerful bikes. I believe the Pivot Shuttle AM is 85 get it one of these days. Neurometers? NMs, you know, the actual power output. Like a full powered e-bike, whether it's this 85 version NMs on the Pivot Shuttle or the 104 or 105, whatever it is on the Instinct, it just goes. You just pedal as long as you want. The battery was fine. I never got close to wearing it completely down. I've read some reviews online saying, yep, it goes and goes and goes. You could probably ride, 6, 7, 8 hours on this thing and it won't die.
I don't want that. Holy cow. See, I'm going up here. Uphill. Isn't that crazy? Chris is a little worn out after riding the non-e-bike. Unbelievable. Oh man, yeah, it's going up there was like, I don't even know if I took more than 4 breaths.
The good news is that there's probably going to be some really good deals out there for the Pivot Shuttle AM because, like I say, I believe it's discontinued. Now Pivot it looks like they've gone with the Pivot Shuttle LT, so long travel. So that would more put it in the altitude Powerplay category. And then they've gone with the Pivot Shuttle SL, which I also demoed, and I'm going to do a review on that one. And that's a much lighter, that's like a 38, 39 pound bike with the Fazua 60 NM or torque. Point being is that you probably can get a really good deal on the Pivot Shuttle AM because I believe they're discontinued now. I don't know if 2022 is their last year making them. I demoed this from Bike Brain here in Las Vegas. Great guys. Go in and check with Eric, the owner, and he probably will give you a smoking deal. Now, the $11,000 price point that the XTR version is that I demoed in this video, that one is, I personally wouldn't pay $11,000. That's a lot of money for a bike. But you probably could get a pretty good deal. I don't even want to say what number that would be, but my guess is you're probably going to save 10 to 20+% on that price point. So if you're looking to buy something in this mid to higher travel, it's pretty slack head tube with full power e-bike, that's probably a really solid buy. And it's a proven engine with the Shimano EP8.
Woo, look at that. Nice. Oh my. Yeah, 100%. Whew. I assume we're going this way? Yeah. Okay, I didn't know where left went.
Is it right for you? I'd say if you want a full power bike that's going to get you all over the place, You don't need or want the extra cushion of a big, burly enduro to enduro downhill type bike with bigger suspension and super slack. But it's 64.3 head tube angle, 160/140 suspension. I mean, it's going to take you everywhere that you want it to. I would just say it's not as obviously light and nimble as a lightweight bike like the Shuttle SL, like the specialized turbo Levo SL or the Canevo SL, or the new Trek EXE. Those are all lighter weight, lower powered bikes. So this one definitely keeps you in that other category without being crazy in terms of the weight and the suspension being like really, really slack.
What was that? I'm done.
Hey everyone! Come and see how good I look!
Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Whoa! Woo-hoo! Woo!
Yeah, my final thoughts are, I really like the bike. Would I buy it? Certainly not at the $11,000 price tag, but at a nice discount, if you could get it for with this build kit, it's a great build kit for like $8,000, $8,500. It probably would, probably be a pretty solid choice. But all bikes are very expensive right now, and Pivot's no exception to that. They kind of went crazy with their prices. So look for discounts. Go talk to your local bike shop and see if they have a bunch in stock. I know, like I say, where I got it from Bike Brain here in Las Vegas. They were great, really easy to work with, and they said, yeah, we've got a few of these in stock. They're going to be going. So check out your local bike dealer, or if you're in or near Las Vegas, call Bike Brain and ask if they've got any deals. And finally, with a direct comparison with the Rocky Mountain Instinct Powerplay C70, which I said is a little bit less expensive, at $9,100 versus this is, like I say, around $11,000. Say you got this build kit at the $9,100 price point, I think I personally would still take the Instinct Powerplay at that price point, at the $9,100 price point, even though the Shuttle AM has a higher end component group. I probably would still take the Instinct because I felt not only that I like the smoothness of that Dyname engine more, but I also felt it was a little more nimble, a little more playful, even though again, they're around the same weight. So that's my review. Hopefully this helps you to decide what you might want to try. The biggest thing I can say though, finally, is get out and demo these bikes. Don't just buy them because you love Pivot or you love Rocky Mountain or you love Specialized and you think, oh, that's the one for me. Because these engines, and motors and batteries, they are all different. So get out there and demo them, especially if you're pulling out $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 on an e-bike. On any bike for that matter, but especially on an e-bike because it is a different feel. So check it out, enjoy, and look for the next review coming out soon. Peace.
This is especially a good time to subscribe, like, and comment.